You think you choose what you eat, but actually, most of your food comes from just a few powerful companies. And the crazy part is, you've been buying from them your entire life without even realizing it. Because this isn't just about brands. This is about your breakfast, your snacks, your dinner, your health, your money. Every time you walk into a grocery store, it feels like you have unlimited choices. Rows of colorful packaging. Different brands, different prices, different promises. But here's what they don't tell you. Most of those choices are an illusion. And this is where it affects you. What you eat every single day isn't just random. It's shaped by a system designed long before you picked that product. So let's make it simple. Imagine walking into a grocery store. Bright lights, endless aisles, everything neatly organized. On the surface, it looks normal, but it's not. Because behind those shelves are just a handful of companies quietly controlling what you see, what you buy, and what you eat. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with one of the biggest. Nestle. This company is everywhere. Coffee, bottled water, frozen meals, snacks, baby food, different packaging. Same company, and this is where it gets serious. Because when one company controls that many products, they don't just sell food. They shape your daily habits. Think about your routine. You wake up, grab coffee, maybe a quick snack later. Something easy for dinner. It feels like your choice. But what if your routine has been quietly built for you? And this is where it affects you directly. Because convenience isn't just convenience, it's influence. The easier something is to grab, the more likely you are to keep choosing it, and that's not an accident. But it doesn't stop there. The second giant is just as powerful. PepsiCo. Most people think of this company as just soda, but that's the illusion. Because behind that name is an entire network of snacks and drinks. Chips, sports drinks, breakfast items, different labels. Same parent company, and here's what they don't tell you. These products are designed to keep you coming back. Not just because they taste good, but because they're engineered to be hard to put down. And this is where it gets dangerous. Because you think you're making small, harmless choices. But those choices are being influenced in ways you don't even notice. You grab a snack because it's there. You finish it without thinking. You buy it again next week. And suddenly, it becomes part of your routine. Now here's where it gets deeper. The third company, Kraft Heinz. This one controls a huge portion of everyday foods, condiments, packaged meals, cheese products, the things sitting in your fridge right now, the things you don't even think about. And this is where it affects you differently, because these aren't treats or extras. They're defaults. They feel normal. And when something feels normal, you stop questioning it. Now step back for a second. 3 companies, thousands of products, millions of people buying them every day. On the surface, it looks like competition. Different brands fighting for your attention. But behind the scenes, it's concentration, power, control. And this is where it gets serious. Because when a small number of companies dominate the market, they don't just influence food. They influence pricing, availability, marketing, even what you think is normal to eat. But it gets worse. Because it's not just about what's on the shelves. It's about how it gets there. These companies control supply chains, ingredients, distribution, advertising. They don't just sell products. They shape the entire system. And this is where it affects you again. Because even when you try to make better choices, you're still choosing within the same system. You switch brands, but the parent company might be the same. You try something new, but it's still part of the same network. And this is where most people get stuck. Because it feels like freedom. But your options were limited before you even walked into the store. Think about your last grocery trip. You picked what you needed, maybe tried something new. Nothing felt unusual. Nothing felt controlled. But this is where it gets subtle. Because control doesn't feel like control. It feels like convenience. It feels like habit. It feels like normal life. And those are the hardest things to question. Now here's the deeper layer. Why does this system exist? Why would so much power be concentrated in just a few companies? The answer is scale. The bigger these companies get, the more efficient they become. They produce more. They distribute faster. They dominate shelf space. No competition? And this is where everything connects. Competition slowly turns into consolidation, and consolidation leads to control. But here's what they don't tell you. This system doesn't just shape what you eat, it shapes how you think about food. Fast becomes normal. Processed becomes convenient. Convenient becomes daily. And daily becomes your lifestyle. And this is where it affects you the most. Because your habits don't feel forced. They feel like your own choices. Now, this doesn't mean everything is bad. And it doesn't mean you're completely controlled. But it does mean something important. Your choices are influenced more than you think. And once you see that, everything starts to change. Because awareness changes behavior. You start reading labels differently. You start questioning brands. You start thinking about what you're buying and why. And that's where real control begins. So the next time you walk into a grocery store, pause for a second, look at the shelves, look past the packaging, and ask yourself, how many of these are actually different, and how many are owned by the same companies? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And most people will go their entire lives, believing they have unlimited choices without ever realizing how much of it was decided for them. And this is only the beginning.